Hi, Patrick. How are you?
Hey Ranjeet, how's it going today? I'm good.
Wonderful, wonderful. And thank you
Awesome.
for our meeting today.
Yeah, I'm always happy to meet on Saturday for these Q&As. I think it's always great to give people some information that they're looking for from our group. So if you're ready, I can hit you with the featured question of the week.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead.
Excellent. Do you have any of, or sorry, do any of the criteria for the EB1A green card have more significance than others?
Well, it's a matter of perception at times that you always feel that from the purpose of EB1A, whether there's a one criteria would have a higher weight than others. I mean, strictly from a legal parlance, I don't think it has any kind of weightage or anything. Let's look at it from a criteria by criteria, and then let's do more deliberation on that. You see, an award, you get it. Obviously, if you got a very big international award, it, the criteria by themselves may not have any weight, but the intensity of the work that you have done may qualify better and achieve you or reach you towards totality. Let me tell you what do I mean by this. Let us say you have a very profound, let's say you are in field of clinical research and you have done some kind of a testing which has changed the lives of millions of people. That would definitely have a more weight uh, rather than, let us say, you have done some ad hoc judging somewhere, or let us say recruitment or something which is not, you may not be HR, but you have just helped your company in doing a judging a peer of others. By itself, the criteria may not have any weight, but the intensity of the work that you have done would definitely carry a good weightage. So, well, many lawyers or many people, kind of always advise, experts would always advise, go for the work which demonstrates your expertise and which would have your intensity better actually. So, like for example, many people believe that they have to go for original contribution, but if you don't have any, don't try to push yourself into it. As simple as that, I would say that. So while it is a matter of belief that my salary is very strong because I'm getting a high salary, but the evidences that will prove that it is because of your expertise will carry more weight than the criteria by itself. So USCIS is pretty, I think, neutral from a category. I have never seen any lawyer telling me or anybody speaking about that. Okay.
Got it. Gotcha. So then from our group, anonymous member asks, are there any success stories of people who have started from scratch and managed to get to EB1A with the guidance of people promising coaching and guidance? Is it even possible for someone with no PhD, research, or judging experiences to get there in a year or two?
Well, there are two aspects to it. First, let us take the second part of the question. Is it possible for someone with no PhD research or judging? The answer is absolutely. Most of the people from the Next League program, they do not have PhD or research or judging, to begin with. In fact, 90% of the work that all our EB1A achievers have done is after they have joined the, kind of work. Almost 90% of the work by all the EB1A achievers. Now, as far as specifically about the judging experience is concerned, this is just one of the criteria. You may qualify for the judging based on the work that you have done, and you may not have done. Now, let's go to the first part of the question, Patrick, wherein the person is asking that are there any success stories of people who have started from scratch? Let's understand this. Typically, EB1A, don't look at it as a green card. You have to look at it as a stamp of excellence of your expertise. Now, the question ideally should be, well, is it possible to start from scratch and manage to become an expert in the top 1% of your field within 1 year or 2 years? That should be the question. Well, absolutely. I mean, don't look at EB1A just as a green card. Our objective is to put people into, success story or put you on a path where EB1A becomes a kind of milestone. Now, having said this, we absolutely have seen marvelous people and extraordinary people who started from scratch. We had a gentleman called Dikshit. He started off at the age of, I think, 26 or 27. In 1 year, 1.5 years, he managed to, become extraordinary in his own right and achieve EB1A. We had this another gentleman called DevOps. I think Ajay. He again has been very young in his 30s. He got his green card in less than 2 years. Dixit was a data scientist. Ajay was DevOps engineer. So we have seen a lot. There are success stories who have done it starting from the scratch. So even if you look at it from the scratch, definitely you need to have some kind of an intensity. And don't try to seek a benevolence of time here because you want to do it fast. Focus on you becoming a top 1% expert in your field, and rest, I think everything will follow, Patrick. I hope this makes sense.
Yeah, always makes sense. Focus on the success. I completely understand that. So then, an anonymous member asks, I don't have any international work experience. Am I still eligible for EB1A?
You see, first and foremost, EB1A is requirements do not solicit international work experience. It solicits certain fulfillment of criteria. And so I always tell people that, okay, fine, there are 3 dimensions of success for your EB1A. We call it through a DISC-W matrix, which recently we got a patent also for that. The first dimension being what is the intensity of your learning? Are you just having an information about something? Are you having skill about something, or are you knowledgeable? To what extent is your understanding? Second would be what's your progressive work experience, and the last would be in terms of what is the impact factor of your work. You don't get EB1A because you have a work experience. You get EB1A because your work has been very profound. And this would state that you don't have to be like kind of a celebrity. Your work needs to get truly celebrated and has to impact thousands of people around, actually. So that's what I would say. So you're very good. If you don't have international work experience, that would not be anywhere merit to be considered.
Right. Perfect. Good. I think it's a misconception sometimes people get that I've seen happen. So yeah, good to clear that up. If I can't get a letter from a VP or director, can I get a letter from my manager for the critical role criteria?
Absolutely. There are 2 things. The criteria is originally when the law was made, it spoke about leading or critical role for an organization. And subsequently, it will also include leading or critical role of a division of an organization. So that's the first thing. The issue is that it does not matter who is giving you a letter, but more important is that person aware of your work and what is the locus of that person to kind of qualify you for EB1A for the particular criteria in terms of leading or a critical role. So this is something which is going to be very important. If you cannot get from VP or your manager would be, in fact, ideally speaking, your manager would be in a perfect place. We're having a right locus to kind of give you this letter. Actually, I would say this. So you are very good at it.
Great, good to know. So anonymous member asks, my salary on my W-2 is $140,000, and I have a background in support engineering. Would this qualify me for the high salary criterion?
Well, I again say that first and foremost, and this is applicable to all the EB1A aspirants and to respond to all the previous questions, that it is not your salary that is going to make or any particular fulfillment of criteria that is going to help you to get EB1A. We are seeing people getting 8 criteria approved. Recently, somebody got 5 criteria approved and they have been still rejected, actually. So don't focus on fulfillment of criteria, but I think there are certain elements that I'm going to demonstrate. Is when we talk of your salary criteria, let's take this particular criteria. The first question would be that is it why somebody is paying you? Is it because of your expertise? So that needs to come out in the documentation. So that's the first and the foremost thing. The second is when we talk about, is what has been the impact factor and is the salary has been sustained. So either you show some kind of a growth trajectory in your emoluments, or you demonstrate that it has been in a part of certain, you have been in the top in your region, in your area for how much are the comparative, people are drawing. Now all these things you have to put together and you have to understand. Otherwise, I think it won't serve the purpose, and technically you may even fulfill the criteria, but still in totality it may not work.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. So anonymous member asks, I have written media articles about myself that have been published. Is this usable evidence for the media publications criteria?
Could you repeat the question, Patrick? I have some concern. Is my understanding correct about the question? I just want to ensure that.
Sure. Yeah, and I got this question in a call one day. So they said that I have written media articles about myself that have been published. Can I use this as evidence for the media publications criteria?
So the person wrote about himself. So you are saying that media is about myself, that I have written about myself. So who wrote the articles? That's the first and foremost. What is the profundity of that journalist who wrote about you? That is very important, because definitely you cannot write about yourself. Then it is simply a blog.
Right.
Okay. Now it has been published. So where it has been published, what is the medium, what is the circulation, what has been kind of approach? Is it published in the Time? It is in Forbes. Is it in Times of India, Economic Times? Where it is actually? If you can get a circulation figures to this impact, what is the credibility of the publication? Even that would matter, I would say. So all these things. So rather than just looking at, again, as I said, is it sustained? Why? What has been written? You got some award. You did some groundbreaking some contribution, that you took the company from X level to Y level. So what is it that has been written? Would be, I do not want to qualify myself to go whether the person would fulfill the criteria without having known these factors. So I would be worried in this case. Second, I have a message, I think, for many people who are having jobs and otherwise. Don't try to media is highly sensitive. You can't just push yourself onto the media. If you are working for a company, are you authorized to talk to media? Would media have any concerns about you talking to them? In fact, recently I know about a case wherein a person was trying to aim for EB1A. He spoke to something about media. Inadvertently, he happened to tell something about himself to the company, about his work and the company. In fact, that led to his termination actually. So, because at the first outset he was told that he is not authorized to speak to the media. So I would be very concerned if somebody just tries to start talking about it in the media, because this is not going to help and this is not good. So that's my submission. And let's take the last question, Patrick.
Sure. Sounds good. Anonymous member asks, if I receive an RFE for my EB1A application stating that I meet 2 criteria and providing guidance on how to meet the remaining criteria, and it doesn't mention anything else, if I resubmit and demonstrate 1 additional criterion, is my application likely to be approved? Would the USCIS have mentioned the final merits determination if I hadn't met it?
Okay. Now, let's say how this whole concept of RFE, or for that matter, NOID, would operate actually. If you receive an RFE for your EB1A application, that you are fulfilling 2 criteria. So, assuming you have gone for 5 criteria, and then you are applying for 2 criteria. So, they at the first outset, they would just tell you that this criteria has been met. And if you have not met the remaining 3 criteria, they would tell you specifically what is missing. Now, having said this, what is happening here is that you have fulfilled 3, so they would not even touch about totality here. But let's flip the question, and by saying that you have met 3 criteria and 2 criteria you haven't met, then they go into the merit of your the very fact you're receiving RFE, it means they have not approved the totality also. Then they would break down each of the approved criteria and then try to explore that, and they try to tell you that why it is not leaning towards totality. The right word is leaning towards totality. Now, in that case, you have to address your remaining criteria which you have not filled, as well as totality. But if totality is not being mentioned because you have approved, only your 2 criteria have been approved, then you will have to strengthen your application on your own merit actually, because nowhere it will say, if you fulfill 2 criteria, that how close or far you are from totality. That is your wisdom, and when you work with a lawyer, you have to work out the right strategy. So wish you all the best, but let's not assume things, do your best, guys, and put your best foot forward. And if you want to have any specific question, please let me know or let Patrick know. We'll be more than happy to help you out. And if you kind of want to come to this show or want to join the Next Lead program and become EB1A Achiever and fulfill your American dream, please click the link below. We'll be happy to help you out in the best possible way.
Yep.
So wish you all the best, and thank you very much, Patrick, for having me.
Yep. Had a good one. Thanks.